How did we get here? What happened? Like, what happened to Star Wars? What happened? Where are we? What weird alternate dimension am I in? It is said that time fades even legend. And so it was with the optimism of Star Wars fans everywhere, including one former doughy-eyed curtain cape wearing fanboy. To some in our universe, the mess that was Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, was the death rattle of Star Wars movie fandom. But what if that wasn't the case? Today we use our remote control of imagination not to visit a reality where they love the movies we hate or hate the movies we love, but rather to visit a reality very much like our own, save for one very important detail. The movie known as Star Wars Episode 9. On this May the 4th, known to many as Star Wars Day, I send you down this alternate turn on the fork of the road of Star Wars destiny to watch a review for Colin Trevorrow's conclusion of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. As you watch, you may ponder which Episode 9 you like more, theirs or ours. But as you do, remember this one very important fact. The Force will be with you. Always. Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. So Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates is the final chapter in the Star Wars trilogy and the Star Wars saga in general, at least the numbered ones. I'm not saying there's not going to be more Star Wars movies coming after this. I'm saying in terms of episodes 1 through 9, this is that finale. So hopefully in the world of ups and downs of the Disney Star Wars trilogy, Colin Trevorrow can stick the landing. And I appreciated the fact that from when this movie starts out, the opening crawl, it establishes the reach of the First Order. Because I've always wondered that. I'm like, are the First Order, are they just a group of terrorists? Are they the government? How big are they? Duel of the Fates establishes that the reach of the First Order goes across the galaxy. They are essentially the government. There's even a public execution in one scene in this movie, which I was really impressed. On more than a couple of occasions, I feel like Duel of the Fates has more grit than the previous two movies. It takes more chances. It has more guts. I'll get into all of it. So the plot is the Resistance has to go to Coruscant, to the old Jedi temple, and light this beacon that's gonna call a bunch of ships to war, essentially. Because, you know, they need more ships. They need allies. Like I said, the First Order's pretty huge. Not gonna lie to you, that beacon would have been pretty helpful when separatists some decades prior came to Coruscant to kidnap the Chancellor. They had a button that would call people to their aid. Why didn't they use that? Don't know, but there's that, and of course Rey and Kylo Ren, they're going to meet in their duel of the Fates. Another thing I liked about this movie is that it establishes there's a bit of a time jump. It's been years since we last saw them in Star Wars Episode 8. Not just the fact that Rey, she's powerful, and at first I was like, of course she is. But she's been training under her master, Force Ghost Luke. I feel like if you're gonna train under Force Ghost Luke, that would make you a badass. So at least there's a reason behind it this time, but not only has Rey become more powerful, Kylo Ren is no longer Kylo Ren, the outraged emo boy. No, now he's Kylo Ren, the questing man-beard man. That's right, Kylo Ren straight up has some man bush. Which that scene where he goes to Mustafar, to Vader's old palace, and he opens up Vader's answering machine, we'll call that a holocron. It zaps his eyes and he looks all fucked up. It's just like it goes back to, the dark side. That's the bad stuff and you're gonna look messed up. I feel like that's one of the things I like most about this movie is Kylo Ren. I liked his quest. He's on a quest for power, which is, yeah, dark side quest for power, we get it. But he doesn't seem to have much regard for the First Order. I feel like Vader was always like, oh, we're gonna rule the galaxy in this empire. I mean, I'm not saying Kylo Ren's better than Vader. Vader's always gonna be king badass of Star Wars forever and always. Him and Palpatine. But Kylo Ren at least has a concept. He's like Sephiroth, you know? Where he's like, I don't care about Shinra. I just want to be powerful. It doesn't take a government to do that. Just let me be some sort of god here. Kylo's on that kind of quest in here, and I dug it. And even Hux, I like the fact that he was a little more confident. I mean, he's still a little weasel, but he's like, all right, let's just let Rey and Kylo Ren kill each other off in the name of their archaic religion, and I'll just rule everything. Like the cockroach unscorched by the fallout, I will be king of the cinder. It was within character with him, and at least he's looking towards an end game. He's still a joke in this movie. You know, he tries to use the Force a couple times when he clearly can't. A couple people laugh at him, like Rose is like, tee hee ha ha, no you can't. So he's still a joke in scenes, but that's not all he is. It's not his defining character in here. It's like, all right, let's just smack the redhead around. Cause comedy, am I right? And this movie does answer the important questions like, can a Force Ghost Jedi come to a dark side user? I guess so. Force Ghost Luke not only trains Rey, but also haunts Kylo Ren. At least for one scene, he comes to Kylo Ren and talks to him. Kylo hates it and strikes his lightsaber. So is that just a one-time thing? I mean, for all we know, when Kylo Ren is laying in bed trying to go to sleep, Force Ghost Luke could just be there singing, I am Henry VIII, I am, just swayzing the shit out of it. That's what I would do. Absolutely. So I don't know, but now I gotta be like, well, could Obi-Wan come to Vader? Did he ever do that? Why did he not do that? So there are a couple things in here that are neat to see, but now I have questions when it comes to the original trilogy, which I feel like has happened a lot in this new trilogy. Now, in terms of Rey's character in this movie, they go out of their way to be like, you're not beholden to the old Jedi rules. There's some romance blooming between her and Poe, which kind of comes out of nowhere, and Leia's like, look, if you want to fuck in the back of the ship, you totally can. Who's gonna stop you? The Jedi Council? Which I like the fact that that is in there, but I feel like Luke was in that situation too. Not that Luke had a real love interest in the original trilogy, but afterwards, he totally was fine with getting down with Mara Jade, which I know isn't canon anymore, but let's be real, it fucking should be. But I like the fact that it's like, who wrote that? I mean, that whole rule wasn't even established until episode 2. I didn't know Jedi couldn't have love interests, which is a huge theme in this movie, which is like, oh, the Jedi didn't have it figured out and balance comes from within. It's someone embracing light and dark because we all have that, which is where this trilogy was going. So it does stay the course on that, which shows that episode 9 wasn't as reactionary as it could have been. I at least appreciated that about it. Speaking of things that they could have been reactionary about that they weren't, Finn and Rose are on an adventure again, which they were in episode 8, and it was a really lame adventure. So in this one, I mean, they go to press this button for a beacon. It's gonna go, all right, call all the ships and all the systems, which they do, and then it gets shut down. So I'm like, you're on another quest that really led to nothing. Man, they just cannot catch a break. However, their quest is still better than Canto Bight, because when you see Finn take a bunch of stormtrooper defectors that he gave a speech to one of them, he was like, you know what, you're right, I am gonna defect with you, FN2187. And they're scaling this big walker like they're a bunch of pirates scaling a ship at sea. You look at that and you're like, all right, well, this is how you make up for Canto Bight. It's true. It's just true. It's 100 times better. There's actually a sweet battle he's involved with. And they at least seem to realize, all right, well, the writing for Rose in the last movie sucked. It doesn't mean Rose, the character, innately sucks. So let's throw her out there in a mission with Finn again, because I feel like that's a dynamic that could work if there's just a better script to work with. Also, the fact that we're going back to Coruscant in the first place, that was a neat bookend for me. I mean, when you see the old Jedi Temple from the prequels, it's this neat bookend of prequel and sequel, and it all, when you see it, it really comes together for you. It's an element in the Star Wars sequels that makes them feel less detached from the rest of the saga. Again, cool to see. It raises questions. Why didn't Palpatine burn that place down during his rule? I don't know. But here we are. So now Kylo Ren is out there training with Darth Plagueis as master. He's teaching him to Shang Tsung's soul steel force energy. All this training leads to this Force vision fight, kind of like Luke had in the cave on Dagobah. Yeah, Kylo Ren fights Darth Vader. Only this time, this fight is fucking business. Yeah, this is Darth Vader, you know, like the Darth Vader who slaughtered all those rebels in the hallway. It's not just big clunky Darth Vader. Darth Vader's fighting prowess has evolved over the years. We saw that in Jedi Fallen Order, where he's just like, he's this unstoppable force. And you see that in this movie, man. This fight, though it's a force fight, it's not real. It's pretty awesome. But still, seeing Vader kick Kylo Ren's ass, you know that's Colin Trevorrow like, we know who the badass of the galaxy is, let's be honest. Again, throwing back to Jedi Fallen Order, that's what Rey's lightsaber reminded me of. It's a double-sided lightsaber that breaks apart. Now she has 2 single-bladed lightsabers. Also made for great battle mechanics in the fighting in this movie. That's the thing that this movie has. This movie has great fights. Whether it be Rey fighting the Knights of Ren, who finally do something in this movie, I wish we would have gotten more setup with them in episode 8. But regardless, I was actually glad to see them on the hunt in this movie. They do feel menacing when you have one blocking laser bolts with a lightsaber and then shooting a gun with the other hand. Holy shit, the Knights of Ren, like, why didn't we see more of them before? One of them has the dark saber, which is how do you get the dark saber? I don't know. Moments like that, I'm always like, what series or book are you gonna make to tie that in? Like, is that just for selling that? Watch Dark Sabers in The Mandalorian or something. They won't do that. That'd be sweet though. Whether it be that, the end fight, the space fights, the ground skirmishes with Finn. In the end fight, all these Star Destroyers keep coming into battle. Leia just kind of resigns the whole thing like, I think we've lost, time to retreat. Before Lando then comes in and saves the day. All of it really felt like Colin Trevorrow was like, dude, this is the final chapter of the final chapter. We need it to feel big. We need it to feel spectacular. He does a pretty good job at having this movie evoke that. And cherry on top, Lando doesn't die. That's good. I swore if he was in episode 9, he was gonna die. At first, when Rey, she's fighting one of the Knights of Ren and she just cooks him with force lightning, and at first I was like, but you're not gonna turn bad. But by the end of the movie, it's not going good versus bad. It's good and bad, and you have both, because we all have both. Which I feel like does take an element of the mysticism out of it, you know? It just, of course, that's how people are. That's how people are. Jedi weren't like that, but that's what made Jedi Jedi. They were so good, but obviously they lost. Without the dark side on this side, light side on this side, does it feel like, fundamentally, does it feel like Star Wars anymore? But while I'm marinating on that, we'll talk about the fact that Rey's parents, we get Rey's parentage in here. Were they nobodies? Yes. A lot of fans were like, dude, well, Kylo Ren said they were junk traders. They're not gonna be that, and I guess they're not. No, Kylo Ren killed her parents, and they took her to Jakku to save her life. Which then you find out Ben Solo turned and became Kylo Ren when he was 17. Rey's about 3 in that flashback where she's like, come back! Which is a 14-year age difference. How old is Kylo Ren? Regardless, that means Luke's students were killed 16 years before The Force Awakens, which means Luke has been missing for 16 years the whole time? Which means in The Last Jedi when he's like, I came to this island to die. It's like, you've been here for 16 years on this island with a bunch of high cliffs? 16 years, you haven't found a way to do it. Whoa, watch your step. That fall will kill you. Yeah, let's find a way to die here for 16 years. Wow. I mean, did you bring your green lightsaber with you? You can go ahead and impale yourself with that like Hux does in this movie when the battle's lost. Which is one thing where I'm like, I kind of call bullshit on that. Would Hux have the balls to impale himself with a lightsaber? I don't know. He'll be there and be like, I can't. But hey, it's a purple lightsaber. He impales himself with Mace Windu's lightsaber. I'll take a Mace Windu Easter egg wherever I can. Regardless, let's appreciate the fact that Harrison Ford came back one last time for that flashback scene. And in the end of the movie, when it leads to the Rey-Kylo Ren showdown, epic as hell. John Williams even has Duel of the Fates playing in there, namesake of the movie. Again, bookending it, just making it feel a bit more real, like episode 1 music in episode 9. But then in an unexpected turn where Rey's kind of, let's face it, she's been IDDQD the entire time. God mode. She actually, Kylo Ren slashes and nails her eyes and blinds her. Which I know a lot of people are going to be like, Kanan from Rebels, that's a total, you're going to think of Kanan. I don't know why. I think of Neo from the Matrix Revolutions. I just do. Concluding chapter of a trilogy, and then, you know, hero gets blinded. I just thought of, it's a Neo thing for me. But that's important. I like the fact that she actually took physical damage that hurt her. I mean, Kylo Ren has now learned how to kill people via Shang Tsunging them, just soul stealing, which he does to Plagueis' master. I kind of call bullshit on that. I'm like, Plagueis' master. You learn this thing from him, and then you just kill him with it. I feel like he'd be like, what do you do? What do you? Nope, fuck you. Get away, kid. Even if you have a beard, you're a punk to me. But okay, he kills him. But they could have just had him do that to her and been like, oh, hey, there you go. That's how he beats her. Somewhere in this saga, Rey needed to take a physical hit that really just kind of fucked her up. A hit that just makes us be like, oh, wow. Anakin got his arm sliced off. Well, in episode 3, he took a lot more damage. Luke got his hand sliced off. Rey needed something like this. If Kylo Ren just like soul sapped her, that wouldn't have been enough. That would have been a little anticlimactic. I feel like I would have walked out of the movie theater being like, I feel like she didn't take any damage. It would have felt like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon when they had Michael Morbius, the living vampire. Oh, but you can't have a vampire bite necks and drink blood, so we're gonna have little suction cups on his palms, and he's gonna grab people by the face, and he's going to drain their plasma. That's what it would have felt like for me if the only damage Rey took was some sort of soul steal that Kylo Ren might have done to her, that he does do in this movie after he slashes her eyes and blinds her. And then Kylo Ren turns good. It was, I felt like that was kind of abrupt. I get that Leia called out to him, and it's like he's evil Kylo Ren for this movie, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'm good. And they kind of touch foreheads. He tells her name, Rey Solana. He's like, your name's Rey Solana. Solana is your last name. Goodbye. Which is when I was sweating at that point. I was like, if they kiss, Don't, oh, this is gonna be the most awkward. Oh, they didn't. And then Rey's in Force Ghost Heaven with Yoda, Luke, and Obi-Wan. And they're all pretty much like, you can stay here or you can go back. And any logical person in that situation would probably be like, in the words of James Tiberius Kirk, I've done my bit for king and country. Yeah, I don't need to do it. Let me just hang out here. But she doesn't. She goes back, which I liked the movie a lot more when it looked like you didn't know. You know, the movie kind of leaves off with like, did she or didn't she? We don't know. People are going to go looking for her. Finn and Rose are going to help Force users and give them a little safe haven. I was actually really digging this weird ambiguous ending where maybe we wouldn't know if Rey came back or not. And then it shows, oh, she does. And I was like, okay, I guess you want a bow on it. You just put a bow right on top. Okay, sweet, done. She's fine and she can see again. Which kind of makes the whole damage thing okay. I guess that negates that. But in the end, Star Wars Duel of the Fates, I ended up having a good time with it. There are some things in here that I'm like, did you do that just for fan service? I don't know, is anyone asking for Chewie to fly an X-Wing fighter? Do we once again need the First Order to have the ability to blow up planets? No. However, in terms of nostalgia bait, my favorite part, other than, you know, the plot of Coruscant and the Jedi Temple, I've already said I like that. I'm talking nostalgia bait of something that was just thrown on screen for the sake of, well, here you go, memory lane shit. There's a scene where R2-D2's playing back everything from his perspective, and it just kind of chronicles the Star Wars saga, because he's been there for all of it. That was a nice little way to close the book on all of it. It's just a trip down memory lane. I enjoyed that. It's been a rocky ride. There have been some ups and downs in terms of the Disney Star Wars trilogy of episodes 7, 8, and 9. Episode 7 gave us a lot of promise. It hyped a lot of people up. I was jacked. I feel like the sequel trilogy, starting with episode 7, was just, it was like that politician who made all those promises and then just didn't follow through with any of it. Sweet, yeah, I promise. You'll get it. All these promises on the campaign trail. 4 years later, it's like, where's any of that? Yeah, well, term's over now, bye. But in the end, I feel like Colin Trevorrow delivered a Star Wars adventure that felt like a Star Wars adventure. To the best of his ability anyway, having to springboard off of some of the previous decisions made in the previous episodes that we might consider missteps. It's not perfect, no. I look at episode 9 and I'm like, here's what would have made it all better, is if you got J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and Colin Trevorrow in a room together for pre-production of the new trilogy. Before pre-production of episode 7 even started, just lock them in a room together for like a month and be like, you all hammer out the plot, get on the same page so there are no contradictions. We know where we're all going. They didn't do that, so Colin Trevorrow gave us what I feel is the best he could have done. In terms of episode 7, The Force Awakens, episode 8, The Last Jedi, and episode 9, Duel of the Fates, I feel like Duel of the Fates is the best original Star Wars adventure we've gotten of the 3. It was really nice to Force Awakens because I was jacked up and fanboying and yeah, promises. Looking back, that I feel like this is the best of the 3 in terms of original adventure. And I'll say Duel of the Fates is worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. We'll see where Star Wars goes after this, but for nothing else, Colin Trevorrow has my respect for not pandering and not doing damage control due to backlash for episode 8. He could have had some easy calls being like, oh, we'll just do this. That'll be easy. Rey needs a last name. We'll make her Palpatine or Skywalker or something. That'll be easy. Oh, Reylos, they really want them to kiss. All right, well, we'll have them kiss when Kylo kind of turns not so evil at the end. Abrupt, yes, but that'll be easy. Kylo needs to train with a super bad baddie. We'll just make it some Palpatine clone or something. There we go. That'll be easy. He didn't do that. Maybe I'm overreaching. I don't think anyone would have done that. That'd have been a little too ridiculous. All right, so Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.